Hi, my name is Manny Peng. In this video, I will show you how to deploy a Trellix sliding server for a site with both WaveLinx wireless and WaveLinx wire installed. We should be ready to move on with upgrading Trellix to the software's version that is compatible with the WACs on site. Now, before we do any software upgrade, we need to make sure that the hardware for the server itself have met the minimum requirements. Okay, if you have the small Trellix Core server, the blue one, which is called Trellix Core Pro, you must make sure that you have 16 gigabyte of RAM on it. Okay, if you have the largest server, which is called the Trellix Core Enterprise, then you need to have 48 gigabyte of RAM. Similar thing with if you have like a virtual Trellix Core server, you do need to have 48 gigabyte of RAM allocated with 8 virtual CPU core, 130 gigabyte of virtual disk space. You need VMware vSphere platform and ESXi 5.5 or later for the VMware software all installed. Okay. So how do we check this? So in order to check the amount of RAM that is available on the server, you need to have a monitor and a keyboard plugged into the Trellix Core server. Okay. Once you plug into it, the first time if the Trellix Core is already running, you're not going to be able to see this menu. Okay. When that happen, if you don't see anything happen, or you see like a blank screen, you just need to power cycle the Trellix Core again and wait for it to fully load. Okay, and it take around 10 to 15 minutes for Trellix Core server to fully load. At that point, you will see a whole bunch of script being run on the monitor, and at the end, it's going to show something like at the end, let's say press any key to continue. You just need to click press any key and press enter, and it should bring you to a console menu that look like this. All right. On the console menu, you have to click on Q in order to use the Linux command line prompt. Okay, because Trellix Core is a Linux machine itself. So you have to you have to type Q, press enter, and then once you type after you press enter, it's going to ask you what command you want to enter for the Linux command. Okay, you need to type in the command top, T-O-P. You have to enter, type that command, press enter in order to see the amount of RAM that is available on the server itself. Okay, so you can see here where the memory, this much memory is being used and this much memory is being free. If you add these two together, you should get the total amount of RAM that is available on the server. And if it is, if you add it together and it shows that it's roughly 16 gigabyte of RAM, then you know for sure that the server is ready to be upgraded. If it is anything less than that, then you're not going to be able to upgrade to the next version. Okay, if that's the case, you have to return the server. You have to contact technical support to set up exchange of the server. Okay. All right. So now that we have confirmed that the hardware is ready for upgrade, then we have to make sure that when we upgrade the software, we follow the proper upgrade path, as you can see here. So this is based on the latest release note of Trellix 9.0.0.25. Okay. Again, you can access this. You can obtain this information from the trellix.cooperlighting.com. And so these are the proper upgrade paths. So depending on what version that you have, most of the Trellix core server that have been shipped to site, at minimum, they've been shipped with this version here, 6.3.1. Okay, but I think you might be lucky you might have a later version, maybe 7.1.0.71 or 8.1. If that's the case, that means that you just have fewer upgrades that you need to do. But if you have an older version, then you need to go through more upgrades. Okay. All right. Now, one thing I want to mention is that Trellix version 8.1.2 or earlier, it's going to be compatible with WAC Gen 1 only. Okay. If you have WAC Gen 2 on site, then if you have WAC Gen 2 and a combination of WAC Gen 1 on site, then you need to update your Trellix core server to the latest release version, which is 9.0.0.25, so that it will be compatible with WAC Gen 2. If you only have WAC Gen 1, you could upgrade it to 9.0.25. You could do that as well, or you can just leave it at 8.1.2.16. Okay, that all depends on what issue that you need to fix. Okay, because each release version will show you which issue will be fixed by upgrading. Now, the other thing that is really, really important is that if you decide to upgrade between 8.1.2.16 here to 9.00.25, you need to remap all the backnet objects. Why? Because we have changed the backnet stack between 8.1.2 or earlier version. We changed it to a new backnet stack on the version 9.00.25. Okay, so this is very critical. Make sure you consult with your BMS integrator before you proceed with the Trellix core upgrade. Okay, because if the site has already been commissioned and the backnet integrator has already mapped all the objects on site already, and now if you upgrade to the latest version 9.00.25, that means that you will need to bring the backnet integrator back to site in order to remap all the objects, and that will involve some cost to do that. Okay, so please be very careful if you decide to upgrade between 8.1.2 to 9.00.25. Okay. All right. So now that we decided that it's okay to continue with the upgrade, then we just need to open up the web browser. You have to switch between the Trellix sliding application and the Trellix admin app, as you can see here. You just click on this button here to switch between Trellix admin and Trellix sliding. Okay, here I already selected the Trellix admin application. Once I'm there, click on the system tab. Okay, and then click on the upgrade button, as you can see in step 4 here. Once that button is clicked, then it's going to ask you what system do you want to upgrade. Okay, at this point we want to select Trellix core. If you have like in this option, you could see like WAC Gen 1, WAC Gen 2, or Trellix. Okay, so here we want to update Trellix core. So make sure you select Trellix in this menu. Okay, select Trellix core, and then you have to choose the file. Click on the choose file button to select the software release package. And at this point, I assume that you already downloaded the correct file name for each version, right? So now that you know where that location of the file name is, just select the file name for upgrading, for you to check whether you have selected the right file name or not. After you confirm that's the right file, then you can click on upload. Because the file itself is very big, it's like minimum is like 1 GB file size, so it's going to take some time for it to finish the upload. After the upload is finished, you will see this upgrade now button will be available. It will be changed from gray to orangey brown like this. Once you see this upgrade now button is available, just click on that button and wait for it to do the upgrade. And it take about 10 to 15 minutes to finish the upgrade. Now, after the upgrade is all finished, then you just need to log into the software following the same username and password and IP address of the Trellix core server, and then log back into the server again after it's fully upgraded. Remember to wait like 10-15 minutes before it finish. Then just log into the Trellix core server with the IP address with the proper username and password. And this is where you can click on to switch between the lighting application and the admin application, right? Click on that, you will see the option. Select the Trellix admin application, and then you have to click on the system tab here. After you click on system tab, you just need to select factory reset, and then just need to select factory reset button here. Click on that button, and just need to click yes, reset now. Okay, then wait for it to finish. Okay, so yeah, so after it's fully factory reset again, the factory reset time itself take about another 10-15 minutes, depending on how heavily loaded the Trellix core server is. After the reset is finished, you need to log back into the Trellix core server, and then click on the device tab here. Click on the device tab, and then you need to click on the action. After you click on the action, you can click on manage controller. So basically, I'm sorry, let me go back a little bit. So we have to repeat step A to step C until the software version is compatible with the WAC itself, right? Basically, you just need to upgrade to one version, factory reset it, then upgrade to the next version and factory reset it until both Trellix and WAC are now compatible. Then you can log into the Trellix server at this point that is compatible with the WACs. That's when you need to go to device, click on the Trellix core server here, and click on manage controller. Because at this point, now that the WACs have compatible version with the Trellix server, then you can import the WACs into Trellix. Okay. So click on manage controller, and then we can do either manual import or automatic import. Okay, and it's highly recommended to do the manual discovery of the WAC because some network does not allow MDNS. Okay, so you can do if you decide to select manual, then make sure you choose the system to import either WaveLinx or WaveLinx wire. Okay. So if you want to import the WAC, then you have to select WaveLinx. In the later version, you will probably see WAC 1 or WAC 2. Okay, that's for Gen 1 or Gen 2. Select the corresponding WAC, and then enter its IP address, this port number and your protocol. You should leave it as is, don't touch it. And after that, click on this discover now. And then you can repeat the same step in the previous slide here. Step 6 to 10, right? Goes through one IP address at a time. Keep repeating it, right? 9 more times, because remember, we can only import 10 WACs. It is recommended to import 10 WACs at a time. So we need to do this like 9 more times to make sure that all 10 WACs has been discovered. And then we can click on the import controllers. Okay, why we want to do 10 WACs at a time? Because that's the best way to avoid any delay when you import WACs into the system. Okay, so once all the WACs have been discovered, you have to click on the import button to bring in the databases. Okay, Click on that, and if there are more WACs to import, then you just need to keep doing the same thing for the next 10 WACs, okay, until all the WACs has been discovered and imported. And then after you've finished importing all the WAC, you can click on this little arrow here to go back. Once you're back, you should now see the WACs, all the WACs showing under the Trellix core. Okay, that is going to be the list of all the controllers showing up here after they've been imported. Okay, the next step after the WACs have been imported into Trellix, now that because they have a compatible version, we can start upgrading both the Trellix core server and the WAC together to the latest software version. What I mean by together is that you still need to upgrade the Trellix core server first. After you finish Trellix core server upgrading, then you can upgrade all the WACs that have been imported through Trellix core server, instead of going to each WAC and upgrade them individually. Okay. So because we already went through the process on upgrading Trellix core server already, I'm going to only show you the step on how to upgrade the WACs from Trellix core itself. How do we do that? We just need to log into the WAC under Trellix admin application. We still need to select software upgrade. Well, we need to click on the system tab here, then select the software upgrade, and then click on upgrade now. At this point, it's going to ask you to select what system we want to upgrade. Make sure you select the WAC or WaveLinx or WAC Gen 1 or WAC Gen 2. Yes, to select this. And then it's going to show you a list of the controller here, based on the WAC name. If you want to choose all of them, that's fine. If all of them need to be upgraded at the same time, make sure you put a checkbox beside each one of the WAC name. Okay, and then after that, you have to choose the file. Okay, click on this button here to choose the file. Notice that when you update the WAC from Trellix, the update file for WAC firmware, the file name is different from the file name when you import when you try to upgrade each WAC individually. As you can see here, for individual WAC upgrade, you use the file name that starts with OTA upgrade. Okay, but if you're trying to upgrade all the WAC simultaneously from Trellix, the file name here is WaveLinx dash release package dash version number of the WAC .tar.gc. Okay, so please make sure that you are selecting the correct file name for upgrading your WAC. You don't want to select the file name OTA upgrade when you're trying to update it using Trellix. Okay, you have to select the file name that starts with WaveLinx-release package. Then you just need to click on the open button here to upload the file name. Okay, again, it also shows you the file name for the WAC upgrade. Just make sure that you can check and confirm that it's the right file name. After you're good to go, just click on upload button. It's going to take a few minutes for the file name to be uploaded onto Trellix. Okay, and after the file is uploaded, you will see the upgrade now button become available. Instead of staying gray, it's going to change to orangey brown color here. And then you can just click on the button as soon as it's available, and it should now begin to upgrade all the WACs simultaneously. Okay. All right. So it's going to take some time for all the WACs to get updated. You should wait about 10-15 minutes, depending on how many WACs that have been imported into Trellix. Wait about 10-15 minutes and check back. Okay. Then check back into Trellix core server. You could either do it through the Trellix core server, or the best way is to log into each WAC individually if you know the IP address of each WAC, just enter HTTPS with the IP address of the WAC, and you don't need to go anywhere far. As long as the WAC firmware upgrade is done, the login screen here will show you the firmware version of the WAC. Okay. Now, sometimes some WAC get updated earlier than the other. Okay, you might still see an older firmware version on the WAC. So that doesn't mean that it's not working. Just move on to the next move on to the IP address of the next WAC and check. Okay, and then you can come back to this one until you check everything else. Right. So now that at this point, assuming that all the upgrades has gone through all the WACs, then we can log back into the Trellix sliding application and go on the device tab here, click on the device tab and click on action. You need to click on import the controller, okay? Because the Trellix core server itself it's not going to be able to know whether all the WACs have finished upgrading the firmware or not. It will still see the older firmware on the WAC if you don't import the controller. Okay, so in order for it to recognize that the WAC has the new firmware, you have to click on import the controller devices, and then after it's importing all the WACs, make sure that before you do this, you have to make sure that all the WAC have finished updating its firmware first, okay? And after you confirm that everything has been updated, then you can click on import controller devices. And after all the import is done, then you can click on each controller in the list here to confirm that they all have the right firmware address. So you click on one of the controller, and under the general property of the controller, you will see the new firmware version. Okay, so just make sure that the right firmware version is showing up here under each WAC. So you just need to do this one controller at a time to make sure that all the WACs have the right firmware on it. Okay, if anyone that is still showing older firmware, yeah, you might need to run the upgrade script one more time, and then just select just the WAC that did not have its firmware upgrade. Select just those one and upgrade them again. Okay. Now that after this step, that confirming the right firmware has been uploaded for each WAC, the next important step here is that you still need to log into each WAC in order to perform the device firmware upgrade of all the devices that have been paired to those WAC, right? You have to log into each WAC and make sure device firmware upgrade is happening on each WAC. Okay, very important. All right. So here we just finished going through one upgrade version, right? So make sure you keep following the upgrade path for both Trellix and WAC until they all upgraded to the latest version of software that we want them to upgrade to. Okay, so here I just show you the step on how to upgrade them. It's your responsibility to make sure that both the Trellix core server and the WAC have been updated to the latest version possible.